First, while we're on the topic of driving, and look, this fella may well be included in some of these numbers, but we have the exclusive details here tonight of where the worst drivers in the country are. A survey has been done that was reported on news.com.au today, where Australians were asked, where do you think the worst drivers are? What do you think of your own driving? And what do you think of everyone else's driving? And it's a really telling story because 89% of people say that they are good drivers, but only 7% say that they think other people on the road are good drivers. So the two can't be true at once,
yes, they can.
But you want to know where the worst drivers in the country are. Here is the list. 34% of people say it's New South Wales. Vic is followed then, 22% of respondents. Then Queensland, 17%, the Northern Territory, 10%, Western Australia, 8%, South Australia, 4%, the ACT, 3%, and Tasmania, 2%. Now, I'm going to advance a theory here that this list seems to follow, almost in order, the places where people have the most stressful lives through to where they have the least stressful lives. And I suspect the way they live their lives translates to the way they drive. Because, of course, if you live in a big city like Sydney or Melbourne, which is, of course, the most people who live in New South Wales and Victoria, that's really what we're talking about. I mean, I don't think they're saying that the country drivers are all that bad. But people drive aggressively in the big cities because they have to be aggressive to get around. Their lives are stressful. We've got to get the kids to soccer. I've got to get to work on time. I've got to drive 2 hours to get to work. I reckon it translates through to your driving style, and that's why people think New South Wales and Victorian drivers are the worst.
I think you might be onto something there, Carl. But I've got a lot to say about this. Now, firstly, it also breaks down almost exactly according to population. So basically this means that people think the worst drivers in the country are the ones who are driving around them. So it's always the drivers who are driving where I'm driving who are the worst drivers, which is why most respondents would be, or the biggest chunk of respondents would be from New South Wales. That's where you have the biggest respondents of people saying they're bad drivers. In fact, that's incorrect, because the reason why New South Wales features so highly is a whole bunch of crap drivers from other states coming over here, not knowing how to drive and getting in our way, and then they get all upset when they get a bit of a toot or a bit of a how's your father. The other thing that's very interesting is that the NT is the only state or territory which is not pretty much where it should be. So it's got 10% of the most hated drivers, when in fact it's got a population lower than Tasmania or the ACT right on the bottom. And that is because people in the Northern Territory are crazy. They are psychos, and they are psychos on the road, and they are psychos off the road. And that's what makes it so fun. They got no speed limits, so I think they actually had to
Well, they do. Your friends in Labor buggered that.
Oh, no, don't talk about that.
You used to have
no one pays any attention to them anyway.
And now they've made it 100.
No one pays any attention to it anyway. So, and the thing is, in Sydney in particular, and this is why Melbourne is so annoying, because Melbourne, they still all obey the rules. In Sydney, you can't afford to go by the rules. If everyone obeyed the rules, no one would get anywhere. You've got to get right in there. You've got to get right up the arse of the person in front of you. Every orange light means go faster. You know, every bus lane means don't get caught. You know, it's that's the animal spirits of the city that make it what it is, that keep it humming. And I've been driving all over this. You know what? I'm so sick of driving around this city. I think I might even take 3 months off.